Well, I'm going to try to put this video up early this morning. I hesitated to put another one up today, but anyway, this just kind of gets me. The news local, where all of them have known my real name and what's happened to me about mind control murders. My God, Virginia Tech's right next door, and Black Sparrow, where the shootings happened. It was the young fella from South Korea was programmed to shoot and kill them and then turn the gun on himself. He was programmed to and kill himself, so he's a victim too, just like Scott Peterson, who's on death row. So I wrote about mind control murders, and I'm giving this as reference. 1976, actually, till I was almost killed April Fool Day of 80, because this is a big April Fool joke, being able to kidnap the monarch and take down the monarch's father, who was a monarch, Edward VIII, who was married to Claudia Ruth O'Keefe Windsor, who was Queen of England, and she's from Madison, Wisconsin. So now then you've got this fake royals who committed every crime in the book that my father didn't. He didn't give up the crown. He was forced out by character assassination by the Rockefellers, Rothschilds, Bilderbergers. They're Jewish. You've got Kennedy, a Jew, the president, FDR, appointed Joe Kennedy of the Kennedy clan as ambassador to England. 1936. That's right after my grandfather conveniently died. You have to wonder about that. And then my father became king, and that didn't last long because he wouldn't go along with the Illuminati, your Freemason, your global government. And they took him out with character assassination. He never married Wallace Simpson. In 1937, she married a double, a look-alike. They got rid of my dad real quick, didn't they? All of it lies. He was married to my mom in the Church of England. I was born, I was christened. The Church of England even got in on the takedown with Winston Churchill, and Elizabeth, of course, was 15 when I was kidnapped. She knew all this. The addendum my father had, and it was legal, stated that he made arrangements, the legal arrangements. He never meant to leave. He was forced out. And that's still going on. Elizabeth knows the truth. She knows about me, all of it. And she's had a hell of a ride being a fake monarch that should be in prison. And she represents the Illuminati that kidnapped me and attempted to take down the British government. I hope they haven't. But she represents them. And yet they're sending Meghan and Harry to Australia, failing to say who they really represent. The global government out of New York City is plain as day. The United Nations, that's the front that was allowed to become real. Inform all the nations, but taking out the leaders. Some of them, Saddam Hussein, they killed, and a bunch of others. And my father, they might as well have. They stole his identity, my mom's identity, an American. Sisters, Georgia O'Keeffe, the artist. And I might mention again that her art recently sold for millions and millions. And about a month or 2 months ago, another painting of hers sold for the same or more, I believe. She has Ghost Rancher did. That was so conveniently taken over, her power of attorney and her will. That was not her signature. The O'Keeffes tried to get to her, and they couldn't. She had a young man who had been with her, I think, for a while, and my Aunt Georgia was going blind, and it was an illegal will that was signed. And, of course, I can't even go into my aunt's home to get out of the heat or the cold. So I've been made homeless, penniless, and tortured beyond belief, and the attempts on my life and my children, what they did to my children, is beyond belief, too, because their grandfather is King Edward VIII, and their grandmother is, I don't know if somebody's listening to this outside or not. I think they're knocking. I don't know. I'm up early, maybe. It's about 7 o'clock. Somebody's dancing half naked up there. I don't know what that is, news this morning. I'm trying to laugh in case you wonder. Anyway, where'd I get to? I don't know. I got distracted then. I will get to this though, which my main point. I was born Victoria II, Queen of England, and the day I was born because of the arrangements made by my father. It brought him back as guardian in my power of attorney, and we actually moved back into one of the castles, Buckingham, I'm assuming. Anyway, the point is there was a big hullabaloo, if you want to call it hullabaloo. It was a horrible thing to do to my father and mother and me and to the British about a cup that sat up on the mantel over the fireplace. I do remember that only because someone in Australia remembered that were elderly, and by way of their relative I found out, and thanks to the relative, if you're still around there, for telling me. But anyway, they knew when I was kidnapped. I found out in '83 after I was in a political campaign to replace U.S. Congressman Larry McDonald, who was also a doctor for Piedmont Hospital in Atlanta, who I had written a book about mind control murders and how mind control, the Tesla files, were used to create an illness or cure it or program people or persons or groups or armies to go out and slaughter. And they don't even know, like Timothy McVeigh in the Oklahoma City bombing, he didn't know. Well, yes, he did find out. And that was published in a book afterwards, and about after I tried to get mine published. But this happened with Timothy McVeigh, and those mind control murders, oddly enough, are the ones that the press, there's a lot of murders goes on that probably, anyway, they were done in patterns, and the press has put those up. They don't mention me or any of it being mind control, but the ones they put up, most of them have been in patterns, and you can prove them. So what I wanted to put up here is right at the end. Probably people have stopped watching it, but it's the press has covered it up. They work for the Illuminati, just like President Trump said. And your presidents have all been, I thought Jimmy Carter wasn't, but he was, from Atlanta. And then you get into making the UN ambassador Andrew Young, the black pastor who was also mayor and U.S. congressman, etc., etc. And of course, he went after South Africa, which was the global government meant to do the UN. So there you go. Who does your former president? I hope this president's a good one. Trump, I think so. Anyway, your former presidents all went to, am I correct, Yale, which is really your Illuminati if you look there. They've all been, I believe I'm correct, they're every one of them. Well, any of them are all Illuminati, I know that. Hillary Clinton, my God, the truth about Hillary and Bill, oh, geez. Anyway, I wanted to put this up again because it's on this morning, the news. And let me remind you, the local media, I'm sitting right here watching it. They know I've been here since '86, October. They know all of it. None of them will print it. The local, the national, nothing. So here they go. The first thing I hear this morning when I turn TV on is about how it's a black lady, she's a member of the press, and she was saying how the press is being limited on going after this journalist's supposed murder. He worked for the Washington Post, and there again, I'm going to remind you, I put up a bit about the Washington Post, so when you talk about freedom of speech for the press, it's been freedom to delete the truth, to suppress it, and create a whole new truth that's nothing but a lie. So don't tell me about your press. Ugly, vile, sick monsters. Now they're going after the king and the prince of Saudi Arabia. They're supposed to be responsible for the murder of this journalist who lives in the United States and works for the Washington Post. And they've been after Trump and after him, pushing him to go. Oh, the press, when they want to, they can go to war or create a war. I want to ask the press if there's any accountability. You're saying everybody, even your government up here, all saying how horrible it is that the Saudis have done this, or part of it, and finding fault with this and that. They're saying how this journalist was dismembered and all this. Well, how would it look if finally, because God stepped in somehow, or you had some honest people that were able to bring this about, you told the truth about me. Henry Kissinger, the 18.5-minute gaps in the Watergate tape, what was being done to me then, but not just then. This is all my life, and to my sons who are heirs after me. So don't tell me about ugly and who should pay for crimes. And somebody made the comment, and they meant it in reference supposedly to something else. They were a member of the government this morning. What if all this is told? Nobody, I think Cruz said that, but he, in reference to that, not me. What if all this is told? Nobody will ever trust the United States again. So is that the reason for not telling about me and keeping on with the hell you've created for me? Well, they shouldn't trust you. Freedom of the press, only when it serves your needs and benefits. That's freedom of the press. And I dare you to tell the truth about me. And if you ever told it, it'd be a friggin' lies, unless it's been orchestrated so you can't get out of it anymore. The day they start locking the press up, hauling your asses off to concentration camps and jailing you where you should have been a long time ago, and the lies have stopped about my father and mother and me and my children are no longer in hell, and the right people are there. Excuse me, but this is true. And I hope there's a power that can put you in behind bars where criminals belong.